Divorce is considered to be one of the biggest stressors in life. Psychologists say that divorce, death of a loved one, and birth of a child are the three biggest stressors in life. Death being number one, divorce second, and birth of a child third. A lot of psychologists actually equal the intensity of divorce to death of a loved one, because when you are going through a divorce, you're dealing with the grief. Not only you dealing with the grief, you losing your life as you know it. Your whole life is actually basically getting destroyed. You are at a risk of losing your house. You're losing your spouse, whether you want it or not. It's still a huge change. You may be losing your children, or you're losing half of the time with your children. You may be losing your possessions. So it's a very, very painful process. And on top of that, you are living in a war zone. Most people, unfortunately, divorces are very, very difficult and challenging, and with a lot of animosity. And you're unfortunately you're dealing with an enemy who actually used to be your closest person, who you fully trusted and you slept with, and then they become an enemy, and you have to fend for yourself from that enemy. And it's very, very sad that it happens this way, but unfortunately that's what life puts us through, and it's always for a bigger reason. There is always a bigger reason why we have to go through it. It's really a blessing in disguise. Going through my divorce, in the beginning of my divorce, I was devastated. I actually wanted to separate with my ex. We were married for 15 years, and our marriage got to a point where it was not good anymore. It was painful. It was very bitter, and with a lot of fighting and resentment and anger, and it just couldn't go on anymore like that. And so I said to my ex, I said, let's separate. We need to separate at least for a while, so at least we can be apart and kind of regroup and have time to think and see if we're meant to be together or not. And he did not want to separate for a while. But then 3 months later, he served me with legal separation papers. And I was more than shocked, to say the least. I was actually dumbfounded. It felt like the rug was pulled from underneath me. And I was in a lot of pain. And I actually tried to make it work with him. I wanted to give it one last chance. He didn't want to. It seemed like he decided that that's it. So, and then after a month or so I cried a lot. I cried a lot for the first month. I was really scared. I was scared of the unknown. I was scared of what would happen with the house and with my daughter, and it was just really scary. It's a huge unknown. It's not easy to be dismantling a life together when you lived with somebody for 15 years. And I'm sure if you had a long-term marriage, you went through the same thing. It's a very tough process that really takes time. So, and then he started behaving in ways that were total deal breakers for me. And I was talking to a therapist. In the beginning of my divorce, I probably was talking to like 5 people. Every single day I was talking to somebody, a coach, a therapist, a spiritual teacher. It's like I just wanted answers. And I was in so much pain that I just needed to talk it out. And kind of see what's my next step, what should I do, how should I handle it. And I am a very emotional person, so I was really suffering. Um, and then after a month, I realized that he started showing behavior that was were total deal breakers for me. And I thought, if he doesn't respect me and he doesn't see my value and what I bring to the table, what's the point? I don't need to fight for this. So I kind of gave up on fighting for our marriage, and then we started separating slowly and slowly. We lived together in the same house for the first 5 months, and that was insanity. Then he finally moved out. Then, as we got more and more separation, it got easier and easier and better. Although he was in a lot of pain too, because he did not want to lose me. Although he wasn't showing it, but it was hard for him. Um, so yeah, it was a tough process. The first year, I would say, was the hardest, and then it was getting easier and easier. Or the first 2 years of the divorce were tough, but then it got easier and easier. My divorce has been going on for 4 years now. It's almost over. We're almost, hopefully, at the end of it. And my wish for you is that your divorce takes as fast as possible, doesn't take too long. But really, you never know. Life has its own plan. So many times we plan, but we just don't know what life has in store for us. So to make a long story short, now 4 years later, I am happier than I have ever been. I am beyond happy to be single. I haven't been dating. I decided to take the time off. I did not want to jump into another relationship and have another failure. And plus, I really needed the time to heal, and I was going through my financial crisis. They say trouble never comes alone, and that's exactly what happened to me. My business started suffering when my divorce started, and it got really, really bad. So I lost a lot of money, and I was self-represented during my divorce for most of the time, and it was tough. It was a very tough road. But guess what? Here I am, 4 years later. I'm alive, alive and kicking, and strong, stronger than I have ever been. I've actually discovered the strength that I never knew I had. And we are much stronger and much more resilient than we think we are. We don't give ourselves credit, and we really don't know. But when life puts us through pressure and through the cooker, you really learn your strengths, and how much you can handle, and what you can do. So I want to tell you, uh, there is hope. There is light at the end of the tunnel. Your divorce will be over, and you will come out of it so much stronger and more compassionate toward others, especially toward those who are going through divorce. You will be a nicer person, and you will appreciate life without the divorce so much more. When I was going through my divorce, when I was in the middle of the cooker, I said to myself, when my divorce is over, I'm going to be so happy and so grateful that I'm not living in the middle of the divorce, that I can actually live my life and move forward and create new things, and do my work and do my business, and just enjoy life. And now here I am. So I remind myself, Natalia, you have no right to complain. You need to be grateful. You need to be happy. Uh, Move forward. Even though there are some things unresolved with him, It's okay. We'll get through it. We will resolve it. Mm, so, in the next module, I will share with you the things that you can do to stay emotionally strong and the things that have saved me through my divorce. And I hope they will be very helpful to you. They certainly they were they were my lifesavers. If it wasn't for those things, I don't know where I would have been by now. So again, uh, know that you're not alone, and you will get through this. And life is so much better and so much brighter on the other side. And so yeah, I will see you in the next module.